My name is Hiram, and I'm the host of these documentaries that talk about topics pertinent to Texas and the rest of the country. Today we came to Jeremy Green's farms to learn about hemp in Texas. This is because on March 1st of 2023, a law went into effect that essentially banned smokable hemp in Texas. But the story really starts back in 2018 when the US passed a farm bill and defined hemp as any cannabis plant with a concentration of 0.03% of THC or lower. Now, come with us and listen to Jeremy himself, the owner of this farm, tell us about the legality of hemp, his own journey into the industry, and information that consumers and average Texans need to know about hemp in Texas.
The Jamaican method.
Go ahead and start the same way.
My name's Jeremy. I've been growing cannabis for 10 years now. I've had a couple of jobs before that would be considered more traditional or classical in nature. I was a stockbroker, financial advisor for 10 years. I managed $50 million worth of people's money. And then I eventually ended up in the oil field and started a company there and sold it. It all was a bust, but we started back at zero. And this time I decided I would dedicate it to a plant that has meant so much to me and has changed my life, has changed my family's life, my friend's life, and a number of people that have access to this flower. We grow some of the state's best flower here as far as hemp cannabis is concerned. And our cannabis is now getting to the reach of other states, which is very gratifying for us because, you know, with those previous jobs were really money-driven jobs. And this is a much more passion than anything, because there's a lot easier ways to make more money than what I'm making here.
You explained that there's a lot of really great things that you've been able to enjoy from the benefits of, you know, cannabis.
I had a midlife train wreck, if you would, crisis, just like everybody does. It's this center of life question and doubt and those kind of things. And I had a reset, which included a divorce and eventually landed me into an addiction. And I basically grew myself out of this addiction. I committed my life to the plant instead of this drug that I was on. And it changed my life by virtue of the act of growing. So that not just the actual product and me actually consuming the product, that has the numerous health benefits that go along with it, along with behavioral and psychological benefits. I had a life of ADHD, 25 years of Adderall, and 5 years ago, we stopped all Adderall, stopped everything. We quit all pills and went straight to CBD and cannabis, other cannabis. One might call it rec cannabis.
Yeah.
So we started in 2020. You know, that was the year of COVID, and it was a great year to actually begin something new and wipe the slate clean, because socially we were kind of doing the same thing. We didn't realize that, but we were. And we hit a reset. It was a perfect time to basically come out from behind the curtain, i.e. the black market, and enjoy this on a very public level and a very legal level, so that now I could teach people and show people how I grow, and it's completely above board. You know, in the many years back, prior to 2018, if you grew cannabis, it was a very discreet endeavor. And so I learned how to grow under those conditions, and it is very nice to be able to grow in an area that I can stand up and walk in, and it allowed me to just do more of what I've been so passionate about. I started out 10 years ago learning how it didn't grow, learning every way it didn't work, and that, by process of elimination, landed me with a very good working knowledge of this plant and how to get it to kind of do the things we want it to do. The U.S. government passed the U.S. Farm Bill of 2018, and that Farm Bill included the definition of hemp. See, man gave hemp and marijuana the names, okay? Those are not scientific in any nature. Both are cannabis, and most CBD, high CBD, is cannabis sativa. okay? It's just been bred to have lower THC, which makes it legal. So, this farm bill defined hemp as any cannabis that is 0.3% or below. Now, God, that's 1/3 of 1%, okay? We're talking non-existent, okay? I believe that that little amount, though, makes a huge difference in how the CBD interacts with your body. A lot of people, including myself, believe in what's called the entourage effect, where all cannabinoids inside that plant and the balance that they're there, you know, when you extract it, that's what the plant's medicine holistically is. We don't take our concentrates or any of our product down to just CBD. We stay with full spectrum, and we stay within our guidelines of legality as it concerns THC limits. The way it works is, you know, you get a license, you register a place, and then you get a permit. And you get a permit for every crop that you do, okay? So every single crop, I have 3 out here right now. I have permits for each one of them that I pulled from the Texas Department of Agriculture prior to growing them, obviously. That permit will follow them all the way into my bloom rooms. And then I will, 4 weeks in, I will contact a Texas Department of Agriculture sampler, okay? He will come out and he will sample my crop, okay? And he has guidelines on how to do that. And then that's tested at a DEA registered lab, okay? I get my number back and a form from TDA saying pass or fail. Okay, pass means that I can now harvest that crop within 30 days of passing it. Okay, and so now that number stayed with that product, and you know, there's nothing that tells us to, but we tie that number all the way to the product through to the end user, which so that changes obviously with THC percentages and such. The other part of the legality, I guess, of it, the whole thing, it feels very Wild West. Sid Miller even admits in the video that you have to watch in order to get a hemp license, he admits that there is loose oversight so that growers and farmers can establish the most efficient means of processing their crop. You know, this is something nobody has you know, there's a Google on it, and you can Google how to process a crop, but not at your place. And so that takes a little bit of learning of how to get to that, and it's very loosely regulated. We go a little bit beyond. Nobody tells us to, but we post the permits outside of each room that the plants are growing in. We maintain and clear vision a license, an LLC document, and everything, just to stay, you know, even with the law. We don't want there to be any confusion. This plant grows the same cannabis either way in the same form and shape. It's just from a molecular level, it's hemp or it's marijuana.
Yeah. And for, you know, folks that don't know, how has the Farm Bill like changed since 2018? Have there been amendments or laws that have been passed as a result? Because, like you said, that opened up a whole new cannabis policy, right, that hadn't been seen before, and I'm sure it prompted a response.
Yeah, and my belief is the program was set up for industrial cannabis, okay, for textiles, acres and acres of cannabis that we harvest with combines and process on a big farm level, okay? That's what the USDA Farm Bill was written for, okay? What's happened is us as a people have discovered that there is definitely medical benefits in CBD that is in hemp, okay? The law's not set up for that. It does not address any cannabinoids, okay? It lays out a couple, and one of them is THC. That's the only cannabinoid it really refers to and allows you what the limits are, but it's not set up for trying to grow it close as you can to the highest THC or highest CBD. It's not set up for boutique growers like us. When our end product does not end up on a shirt or in paper, it ends up consumed to some degree, depending on how it's purchased.
Yeah. Is there going to be issues for you or obstacles now that smokable hemp has been like officially banned. I think that went into place March 1st.
Yeah, it did go into place March 1st.
What's today?
Today is March the
March 5th.
5th, yep. So very, very recently. The decision came, I believe, at the first of the fall last year, sometime maybe September, October, and March 1st is the effective date. And this is an example of how odd and up and down the legality and our market is in the cannabis industry. The Department of State Health Services are the governing body of retail outlets, okay? The Texas Department of Agriculture is over just hemp grown at the farm. There's not an in-between, okay? So there's this open area that is, and it's open to design however the rule-making bodies want to, unfortunately. Because it does not, the rules do not directly address smokable hemp, it became a ban because it became a product of this USDA farm bill. People are smoking it in different forms, whether it's concentrates, waxes, dabs, or joints, or cones. And they don't have a way to really monitor that part of it at all. And so it's up to us to kind of follow the right steps, but then we get handed an odd ban, like the smokable hemp ban, that says smokable hemp products cannot be manufactured in Texas, but they can be bought and sold. So who does that cut out?
Texas.
Cuts us out, cuts us growers out of that. Basically, these CBD shops here in Austin, Texas, they want to offer goods and services to their people, and quite frankly, smokable hemp is a pretty big product for them. I mean, if they took their cones away and their specifically vape oil away, it would be a dent. It would definitely be a dent in some revenue, but they didn't. They only took it away from us, the manufacturers, the ones who grow it and manufacture it into that oil cart or into that gummy or into that salve, tincture, or flour. We're the ones that actually convert it from these guys right here over into cash, way, way over here. And we have Department of State Health Services that just took the middle out and made it very difficult for us manufacturers. So the way we have compensated for that, we don't want to lose a product. We sell a lot of pre-rolls, okay? But the way we sell them, we send our flour, just premium hemp flour, high CBD flour that's been tested and harvested under the law correctly. We send it out of state, and our out-of-state processor stuffs the cones and packages them and sells them back to us for a price. And so now we're able to have our product stay in that market, but it just took us a long ways around to get there.
And I suspect that this is going to bring the prices of hemp products up, right? With the extra process out of state.
The thing is, it will add costs on our behalf. That is correct. That it increases the amount of input costs that we have to put into the product in order to convert it over to cash. And so, it could be close to a break even, honestly, and we just don't want to lose that client base, okay? Even if it is a break even, it's a good cash flow that comes and goes, so we know that we're moving our product in the right direction legally. We make sure it's legal. There's nothing we do that we ever want to be confused as illegal or not right.
Of course. And I see that, like, obviously you have a passion for this because you don't mind breaking even, which is, of course, very admirable. And you say you have the best cannabis in Texas. Have you won any awards? Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, actually, 2022's Taste of Texas Hemp Cup is an annual event that's gone on for 3 years now, and it's where 20 to 30, I think as high as 35 growers have submitted their product, their flower, into this judging process that involves 10 professional judges who have judged in High Times Cups and other big name contests, and then also a people's choice, in which you can sign up as a general person to be a judge. You pay a fee, and guess what? You get a box full of everybody's entry as a sample. Okay, so we have to contribute 70 samples so that they have enough to contribute to all of the People's Choice Judge. Yeah. Well, the first year we won Best Presentation, that was 2021, and then last year we won the Best Hemp in Texas. It was the top prize, and which means we won every category. It wasn't just one category. We were the #1 in all or most of them. It's rewarding being validated, I guess. You know, we work really hard here. I know I do, and I keep my head down and work on my craft. I don't look up a whole lot. You will not find me at flea markets. You'll not find me at most festivals. I just don't have time for that, and I would rather spend it here focusing on my craft than working my ego over, because the ego doesn't make money. And this costs money to make, you know? Yeah. So fortunately, we're going to be ready for when rec marijuana becomes legal in Texas. If it be at 5 years or 10 years, we're going to have the machine already set up all the way to the retail of that plant, and we just have to change plants. I mean, that's really as simple as we're trying to make it. We're trying to get all the headache, all the learning curve, all the what doesn't work out of the way right now, practicing in this hemp world. And so breaking even is like, wow, we got to break even. That's amazing. There's not a lot of growing and growers at my size, which isn't very big, that is making money. I can say the smokable hemp ban as an example, I feel like has taken the integrity away from certain products. These people who were purchasing our pre-rolls and other people from Texas were contributing to that, then they know where it's coming from. But when the pre-rolls and smokable hemp has to be outsourced to out of state, who knows, man? Who knows how long that's been in a warehouse? Who knows if that's trim or if that's, flour? When we do it, we chop up flour. We do not send cuttings and trim and leaves to the pre-roller, which is usually what a ton of people do as a use of their byproduct, as they put it into a pre-roll. And to me, it just tastes awful. It tastes like hay, a very hay green taste, and it's usually pretty harsh. Ours, we take pride in how we choose what goes into that pre-roll.
Yeah, no, and I could tell being out here, I can see the individual amount of detail and attention each plant has gotten. So, absolutely. Could you maybe tell me a little bit more about the growing process?
Sure.
What is it like to grow hemp in Texas with the climate?
That's a good point. That's a very, very good question. I would say that's something we're still learning.
Yeah.
And it's by process of elimination now, because we have found a very successful path of how to get the plant from a clone or a small status to a finished product. And we're still working on that, and we always will be, and the goal is to have everything moving at the right time. So once I'm through flowering, I should have plants ready to go. Yeah. And in order to have plants ready to go, I gotta have clones already taken. I have to have a lot of stuff. And so that really becomes I guess the juggle and the challenge. And it's how do we keep the flow going? How do we keep that going? And it's forced us out of a few methods, but it's also introduced us to some new and improved methods that are actually more effective. Maybe a little less efficient, but just more effective.
Yeah, that's awesome. How long does it take you to go through the beginning stages of putting together a plant?
Right. Well, I'll say it is definitely different per strain. Okay. And growing that strain continually over and over, we concentrate on about 4 or 5 strains. That's it. We don't go crazy with the strains. And we really hit 3 of them hard. That's the only 3 that we really, really focus on, and we've gotten absolutely amazing at those 3. One of those 3 is what won the Hemp Cup. So I feel like just running through them builds our method for the next time. Once we discover how that specific strain moves, we begin being able to use a calendar. Until then, we really grow to a size, because we know that a size plant this big is going to end this big and produce X amount of flower. Yeah. And now it becomes math. Okay, how many of those do you plant? You know, but you don't get that data at first. You definitely don't. And there's not a Google idea or page. There's nothing you can ask that would make it just evident. It's very generalized information. You also get a lot of over information. So people you asked about people in the cannabis space, that how this affects them. I feel like that the market is extremely flooded with flower overall in the U.S. Yeah. I do. I've seen prices of pounds come down drastically in cannabis, CBD, and the whole works. And what that does is it creates a lot of misinformation or bro science, where, you know, it's just guys that are given how they did it, and you try to mimic that. You know, if you're trying to find a solution to a problem you're having, you can find 20 different people solving it 20 different ways, and they're all equally unreliable because there's factors that they don't let you know. And so the misinformation really bothers me. I've seen it happen with, and I've helped a lot of people kind of get on a correct path of what makes sense. Here in Texas, we do not get to flower outside. That is not something that we've done it once. It was a very, very enjoyable and gratifying event. This hoop house is 50 feet long. We had it full to the nets with bud, and I literally had tunnels through the bottom, which is how we watered. We were hand watering all things at that point in time, and it was such a beautiful crop. And 2 weeks before we're gonna harvest, the weather starts changing a little bit. You know, you got September, October gets a little cooler. Well, army worms destroyed at least half of the buds. The way that they attack is just absolutely catastrophic to a cannabis bud. They're from a moth, okay? And the moth lays the larvae on the top of the bud. The larvae bores into the stem, all the way down the stem, killing everything on its way down. And that happened in 2 weeks, and made it where what we had on the crop made it not as high quality as we wanted. So we do no longer flower cannabis outside. We only do this stage outside. This is called the vegetative stage. And basically we're just growing plants under a shade cloth is what it comes down to. As a consumer, and some advice to a consumer is to just understand where your product is coming from. If you're really seeking the benefits that you're out to get, I recommend you staying with a manufacturer and grower within your state, because you can visit their farm and see the integrity of their product. That's what I would say to consumers. I would say for us, we're looking to expand. We have a pitch deck. We have things ready for some investors. We're talking to a couple, but we're not decided on any. Basically need a greenhouse and some more equipment, maybe about $40,000 worth of equipment. If we don't find that, we will eventually get it, because that's how we grow. Literally, we grow these equipment. So we don't break even, because, I mean, we do break even because we do spend a lot of money reinvesting it into our business. And slowly but surely, we've gotten more equipment, so our reliability has gone up. We don't have as much volatility and quality. When you don't have the right equipment, it makes it twice as hard manually, you know, with a person. We just now, 3 weeks ago, started automatic watering. We were hand watering well over 300, 400 plants in a day. And that takes a lot of time when it's all wrapped up like that. So, you know, learning what not to do, you know. But automation is there, and it's gonna save us a lot of time. So yeah, catch me at Jeremy Greens, and make sure it's Jeremy with a G. I thank my mother for doing that. Because, you know, if you Google me, I am #1 on that bitch, and I didn't do any kind of SEO work or nothing like that. Just Jeremy Greens, and that's my face is like this up there up front going. Okay, yeah, so Jeremy Greens, jeremygreensfarm.com is where you can purchase product. We put the available flower up there. Right now, Lifter is available. We also have salves and tinctures and things of that nature through the website. If you'd like pretty flowers, check out my Instagram at Jeremy Greens. There's a ton of really, really amazing photos of what we're doing out here.
Great, awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Sure.
I really appreciate all your time.
Awesome, dude. Perfect.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today and learning more about Texas hemp and its legality. From farmers like Jeremy, we learned what the impacts are going to be on businesses like the small business here, Jeremy Greens, and the impact on consumers as well. These documentaries hopefully will inspire you to be a more informed voter, and if you're a legislator, to be a more informed policymaker. Make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Tell us what you think about the legality of marijuana and hemp in Texas. Do you agree with it? Do you disagree? Again, thank you so much and have a wonderful day. Yo, what up, bro?
Just looking for leads here with any sort of deficiencies. For example, this right here is some light burn. So we'll go ahead and get that stress lead off. As well as any powder you're looking for that seed.
Nice.